What's going on, Red?
What the fuck? Oh my god. This channel? Why am I here?
I have
Who drugged me and
abducted
dragged me
you.
here?
I have abducted you. You're tied to the chair. You're just coming in through Skype here, so it's an illusion. That's a
I'm over
dumb
there on
analogy.
Controlled Squared talking about Chainsaw Man and soon One Piece again.
I'm really glad you guys got a nice little 5-hour
Yeah, some
video.
disgustingly long One Piece video coming up to get us back into our weekly One Piece. Head over there. That should be up soon. But today we're talking about drama, just all over the place. We got Ruby drama. We got Rick and Morty drama. The Ruby drama is significantly less intense than the Rick and Morty drama.
Yeah,
So
Justin Roiland might be seeing some locked up.
he might. There's got to be a funny joke there. Hold on, like he's gonna get squanched in the fucking shower bathrooms, or like, what else? There's got to be something.
He really turned into Mr. Jellybean, didn't he?
Oh no. Yeah. So I mean, like, I guess we'll start with Roiland. So like, I still, because we don't really have all the details, but he sounds like he, you know, I don't actually beat his wife because it wasn't his wife; they were just dating, right? But he beat a woman. We had false imprisonment was slid in there, which means that he basically was like, "You better not fucking leave." Like he like coerced her to stay there. A lot of stuff going on. Because this is beyond just like being canceled. Like it's funny to see how like that word has like completely lost all meaning, because people will say on Twitter like, oh yeah, dude, Justin Roiland's canceled now. It's like, no, dude, he's arrested. like we've hit the point now where like a man comes out, like let's say, let me think of an example here. Like, okay, who's the guy that wrote Game of Thrones?
George R. R. Martin.
George R. R. Martin comes out and like shoots a fucking kid and like fucks its corpse, and it's like canceled yet again. It's like, no, dude, he's in jail. I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is like where we're at with Roiland here. Like, it's not a canceled thing. Like, he is in jail for a crime. You know, like,
is he technically in jail or is he on bail?
Oh right, wasn't he just found guilty for it, or have they not on the trial yet?
They're going to trial, last I read, but that was like a week ago.
Okay, arrested. I guess I should have used
charged or disposed. Yeah. But yeah, like it's.
Thank you for correcting me there. Yeah, I guess that's the better term. But I mean, like, it seems like, right.
It's pretty open and shut for a lot of the charges.
It does, and like we're talking, like just a week or two ago, I wanted to have his back because I do like Roiland generally. I've liked what I've seen from him. You know, his humor has gotten a little stale over the years, but like I've always liked him. The vibes I've gotten. But so, you know, my first intention was to be like, okay, we should really wait, make sure, you know, everything's, you know, make sure.
And then the fan screenshots came out.
Yeah, I mean, there's the DMs, which of course seems like that's with. I don't know why people can't follow the number one rule of being a celebrity. Just don't even.
Creators stop grooming your fans challenge impossible.
Yeah, take a shot every time.
Take a shot every time a creator slid into somebody's DMs.
It's like, dude, man, it's just not worth it, bro. Like that's why the only place that's worth talking to your fans is like in a very public, like, con setting where like there's no chance of like
even a Z tier is like you or I am. Like I check bios, like, okay, this person is of
man, we
age.
ain't C tier. Our C tier is like a fucking like a star of like a TV sitcom.
No, I said Z as in zebra.
Yeah. Oh, did you say Z tier? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. No, see, I actually think we're above Z because Z tier is like a normal person, right? We're like Y tier.
Y tier. Like, why the fuck are we here?
Because yeah. That's a good joke. I'm proud of you. No.
The improv.
Hold on, wait. My Hisoka, my million view Hisoka video alone makes me Y tier. Okay, I have a million view video, and no, it's not million yet. Before you say it, but it's like 100,000 away. So like, fuck
it's like 75,000 away.
I'm rounding up. Okay, I have an almost million viewed video. Get that video to 1 million views. If you don't know,
play that on Infinity.
Hisoka's motives then versus now, I think is what it's called, bro.
I think so.
It's cringe. I you know, I made that shit 5+ years ago, but I mean, like, I still stand by some of the analysis. It's just a little cringe.
Yeah, like I think that's like the peak of your editing, like hyper focus too. Like that's the most that's how you work on anything.
It's not super good. There's a lot of things going to done differently. But anyway, so Roiland, what was I gonna say? But yeah, it's so they announced that they're recasting him, which is huge, right? This is actually kind of the moment where I started to kind of flip on like my opinion with it, because to me, it seems like if Adult Swim was like confident that the trial was going to happen and he was going to be found innocent, they wouldn't have done this, right? It feels to me like Adult Swim, given that they're a big company and they have their own little PR team,
they're owned by Warner.
Did some sort of like internal investigation and found some shit themselves. And I have a feeling that they know some shit like, ooh, this is real bad. You know what I mean? That's the vibe I got, because it just feels very quick and sudden. Because Adult Swim is not like Disney. They're fucking Adult Swim, okay? They're not going to drop a motherfucker unless it's bad, all right?
They drop, like, in their history, I think they've only dropped one other creator, and it was the dude that I think did I think it was either early or the sheriff in Squidbillies, because he said some racist ass shit around the height of like the Black Lives Matter protests.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too. Like, people forget the kind of guy Roiland was, right? And like, go back to I've shown you it plenty of times. Like the origin. Wow, I pronounced that like a sped. The origin of Rick and Morty is literally built on like a pedophile joke. You know? And like, you know, it's okay when you think it's just a joke, but then it's like, oh no, here we go. It's like when you're watching old school Game Grumps and JonTron says the N-word. It's like,
uh-oh,
oh,
editor,
that wasn't just a joke,
editor.
But yeah, no, you know, it's the type. It strikes me as like people that joke about it a lot, like obsessively, which he did. You know, I mean, I even think of like a con panel that I used to watch. It was a Rick and Morty panel where they asked him to do an improv scene. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but I remember watching this. So he's at a panel, and they're like, "Oh, do an improv scene," and they're doing an improv scene where they're having breakfast at the table, and Rick's like, "Oh, I made a breakfast machine," and then Morty's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna get a waffle." And because you can type in anything and it'll happen, and he's like, "I want a waffle with cum all over it," and they're like, "Oh God, Morty, why would you?" Like, he's just a weird guy, right? And like, you want to believe that it's like, oh, he's just got a silly humor, but like the fact that that's the first place his mind goes does say a lot about like the type of weirdness he's into. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it really does. And like, hindsight being 2020, now that we know what we know, or seemingly know anyway, like it makes a lot of jokes make a lot darker sense.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to word it, right? Because if it's jokes, it's fine. But like, I think what people have noticed about some of the DMs as well that I've seen people kind of like picking apart is that like the way he talks to people, the way he like flirts was actually like cringe and in character for a little bit. Like some of them, like he would like, talk to these women like he was like Morty. You know what I mean? And so it starts to make me think that like, you know, I think we forget that like these people, just because they get like super famous and super successful, Justin Roiland was a freak on the internet that made some freak shit, right? Like that's where this guy came from. It wasn't like some like, you know, it's not like old celebrities of old where like I went to acting school for years. You know, the beauty of YouTube is that you can have like some rando fucking kid from some rando fucking middle of nowhere place make a YouTube video and go viral and then get a show, right? But
well, look at Oni Place, for example. They went from that to
Leviosa. Was that Oni Leviosa?
Ah, shit.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, that one. That's a reference I don't get.
And he's like fucking like Ron is like sexually assaulting like Hermione. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, fuck your butt. And then
but like, we went from that to Smiling Friends, for example. Like,
yeah, well, I think it's just important that people recognize that like a lot of these people, they're coming from eras where like just 10, 20 years ago, like the funny joke on the internet, the acceptable joke was, I mean, you remember Pedo Bear used to be like this commonly accepted meme. It's wild to me that like I used to not even blink twice at that. Like, oh yeah, Pedo Bear. The joke is that it's a bear that fucks children.
Right, no,
and it
like
seemed like so innocent. Early internet was wild because it was like you just wouldn't blink twice at these jokes. So like Roiland is coming from an era where the type of jokes you'd make would be like kind of stuff like that, right? And like I think of him as like, you know, okay, he was once like a young kid on the internet, and I think some of these people, it's same with like the Smash community when there was all that drama. I think some of these people never grow from the mindset of like being that child on the internet. So like,
exactly.
You know, you go from being like a loser virgin child on the internet who made a creepy like cartoon to now you're a loser virgin child on the internet who has a multi-billion-dollar like successful IP. and you can fuck anyone you want. And like there's no like slow transition. You're just like boom, you're successful, and then it's like uh-oh, and then like they just don't know how to fucking contain themselves. And
Well,
then
I
they go out and
mean,
start fucking everybody, and then oops, was that a 17-year-old fan? Not that not that Justin Roiland did that, but he had weird messages with them. And then of course the beating his wife thing, which I wonder, or not his wife, but the beating the girlfriend thing, I wonder if that comes from like his alcohol problems, because he had like legit alcohol problems, didn't he?
yeah, I think that was Dan Harmon actually that
Didn't they
had.
both? I thought he had like a. I thought Justin Roiland was like a serious drinker too.
I know Dan Harmon's alcoholism, like when he got divorced. I don't know too much about Royland's potential
Well, he would come
alcoholism.
in and voice act for Rick completely shit faced.
True, I do remember you showed me like the video of that. So yeah, like that's some heavy alcohol
It wouldn't
issues.
surprise me if like there was alcohol involved. Not that that excuses him in any way, because you know what I mean. Like all being drunk does is it like releases your true self, kind of. You
Yeah,
know.
no, like I know that one a little bit too well.
Yeah. So like it makes me think that like he was probably drunk off his ass. He was probably having some, because this was mid 2020, pandemic was happening.
Yep.
Wasn't that around the time when like their good friend died as well?
Yeah, so like it was probably depression, drinking mixed with, the whole like
Yeah.
alcohol festering your actual emotions and
And when you and
anger.
I are depressed, we do things like, we don't have the outlets that he does, right? When you're depressed and you're Justin Roiland, you can drink, you might beat your girlfriend, and you might be like, well, now that I've beaten my girlfriend, I'm sure there's some fans that'll give me a rebound fuck, like you can see how this path went probably.
Yeah, it's depressing, like so like for me like I just get super emo when I'm fucking drunk. Like
Crawling in my skin.
you almost hit a Morty note with that. That's fucking impressive. You should be the next Morty.
That's yeah. I'm gonna announce today. I am actually replacing Justin Roiland.
Oh, it's been nice working with you the last.
I got the call today. Oh, it's okay. I'll give you a cameo. You can be Vex. You'll play the first trans character in Rick and Morty.
No, sweet. I get to be a diversity hire.
Yeah. You're gonna be like oh Morty. It's an alien. They can every time they blink, they change their genitalia. They're trans. They're based as fuck, Morty. It's based.
Look at us. Please don't cancel us. We have a 70-issue commitment or 70-episode commitment here.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, though, right? Because like, unlike shows in the past that have like had to completely get rid of like a pretty titular voice actor, this is more
Apu, etc.
important than like any other one, because Roiland really is the heart of the show. Not that it's been a while since he's like been heavily involved in the writing. Like the writing itself won't change that much, but like I mean, not only does he voice
Both
the two
main
major
characters.
characters, his improv really directed like a lot of like how the series went, right? I mean, like Wubba Lubba Dub Dub is all him. Like a lot of like Rick's mannerisms were made up by his weird little improvs, right?
There is no shortage of people trying to emulate that on the internet, though.
No, yeah. Remember, I'm not defending Roiland. I am just pointing out like how serious this must be for them to get rid of him.
Oh no,
This is
100%.
This is a big deal. Like he is. This isn't just like, ooh, we're replacing Cleveland from Family Guy because we want to have like a black guy voice him, which is totally fair, by the way. This is like, oh wow, like this guy. Not only did he create Rick and Morty, he voices Rick and Morty. His weird mannerisms like indicate like how
95% of the plot points.
It's so much, right? So like, and like again, I'm not at all defending. I don't want people to misconstrue like I'm one of the fanboys. Like, no, it's not Rick and Morty without him. Like, no, it's fine.
But it's like, not Rick and Morty, right? Says the internet voice here.
Yeah, it is interesting though, right? Like this show was his baby, and that's it makes it a little sad because like, damn, this guy is fucking turning quick on the snow. All right, sorry, I was just looking out my window, and like where I park in my apartment, there's like a fucking. Basically, there's like a little like hill, like so if you went too far, you just like your car would just like drop like 20 feet, basically.
Ooh, fun.
And like and there's snow. It's completely covered in snow. And this guy was fucking gassing it, and I was just like seeing if he was gonna fucking die.
If he's going to eat shit off the fucking freeway there.
Yeah, that was insane. Anyway, no, basically all this to say like it is his baby, this show. So it is like there's part of me that's like sad.
Right. No.
Almost for him, like I feel like, because like I feel like I hope he's like whenever if he does get convicted, I hope he has time to sit there and be like really regret, because I mean he had it all, he really did, like
He
to
no
throw it away like
legit.
this.
Like he had the world in his fucking hands there for a good 3 years, and then 2 years of people questioning like if it would continue on, and then a year of like resurgence apparently.
I
Um,
know. Oh, that's so
but like
sad.
it's interesting, right? Because like I was bringing up, like the only other instance of Warner Brothers doing something like this, Adult Swim in this case, having done this was the Squidbillies issue, and that was just overt racism was the reasoning for his recasting, and it was only for like 6 episodes of a reboot series. Like that's not like it's like something currently airing or like a resurgence or something like that. It's something big, right? And this is
Yeah, I
a
mean, like,
company that's parent company still has fucking Ezra Miller in the role of the goddamn Flash. Okay,
yeah,
so
it has to be pretty bad, or pretty like uncover upable. And they try. I don't know if you heard this part about it. They tried to cover it up. I mean, this arrest, the initial arrest, happened in 2020, and then
right, no,
they spent a lot of, as far as I can tell, I don't know if it was like an NDA or what they did, but they did a lot to try to keep it under wraps until they couldn't anymore.
no,
Um,
like, and
yeah,
public record is a son of a bitch, right?
yeah,
Like the second that the trial is being announced, like L.A. is L.A. You're not going
yeah,
to
because
keep
that's what
shit quiet
that's what
there.
happened. Like people started noticing, oh, Royland's going to like court for something. What is this? And then they dug into it, and it's like, oh shit. They tried really hard to, like, there was no public announcement. They tried really hard to keep it under wraps.
The funny part is like the difference between the two there, like the Ezra Miller shit, they couldn't keep that secret because the motherfucker was getting arrested in every state. And then like Justin Roiland, like it's just LA based, right? You can pay off a judge or somebody to keep it out of the paper in LA, but you can't if it's like in fucking Hawaii and Texas and California.
Yeah, I can't really say much on the Ezra Miller because I actually did not follow that at all because I just don't care. I recognize his name. He's the Flash guy, right?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
Flash guy. Like that's what I'm comparing the two because they're both properties owned by Warner
Oh
Brothers
yeah, no, I
here.
literally just don't even know what he did. Like I just
And coincidentally, Rooster Teeth is another Warner Brothers. So what the fuck, Warner Brothers?
but anyway, I'm just curious. So, like, do you know that TikToker in terms of like who should replace Royland? Do you know the TikTok? Did you see that? Like, he's been like an improv, like an improver of Justin Roiland's voices for a while, and a lot of people are like calling for him to be the replacement, and even he's getting in on it. He's like, yeah, I mean, I'd do it, you know.
He's like, yeah, please hand me copious sacks of cash, please.
Have you seen this guy or no?
I've seen one video on my FYP. My FYP and your FYP are very different.
Yeah, I'll send you like his most recent right now. Where like, so first of all, just so give you an idea of how like good he is, his his sounds on TikTok keep getting removed because they think it's just clips of Rick and Morty.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like that's what's happening to him recently.
Okay,
Here,
I'll
I'm gonna send you one right now. I want you to see how good he is. He even shows that he can do old Morty and like season 1 Morty, where he's like a lot more high pitched and squeaky, and like more mature new Morty. He can do both of those.
okay.
Here, watch it. See how good he is.
Where are you sending it? Facebook.
Facebook.
Okay.
Hey, so a lot of people have been saying that I either sound like old Morty or new Morty. I just want to clarify, I do both, but I mostly do old Morty because it's the most iconic. So like the oh man, oh geez, Rick, even Hitler cared about Germany or something. I'm sitting here with both my legs broken. And then in the later seasons, his voice gets a lot deeper. I've been watching you drink, Stacy. I get the feeling you've got a hard job. I wonder what it takes to please you. That's the job I want. Part-time, full-time. I want to be good at it, bad at it. You get the idea. Hey,
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the fucking guy. And he can do it all. He can do Lemon Grab. He can do Mr. Meeseeks. He can. Yeah, I've seen him do all of Royland's voices.
I saw him in the trend on TikTok where like on one side or like at the bottom it's like some mobile game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I've seen a clip of him but with that because I'm on
So funny.
ADHD talk.
I'm trying to find one where he's doing Rick.
But yeah, like it's interesting, right? Because like I was getting at, there's a million people that try to do this, and there's like 5 good people that do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, they could easily like if they got this guy, they could continue on and like no one would even know the difference. Like,
So, like-
that's how good. Hold on, real quick.
Okay.
If they got him, they could continue on. No one would even know the difference, right? So, but the question is, in what way are they going to try to do this? Like, they could. There's 2 directions here. Either they try to, because some might criticize for like, oh, you're trying to emulate Roiland when you should just like go in a different direction. Or so like, are they going to try to just like completely like just hire whoever they want and then just like be like, oh no, that's the new voices now, and like not even acknowledge it? Or are they going to try to match what it is? I think I would rather them try to match Roiland, because like I actually really do. I feel it'd feel really weird to have like totally different voices for those characters now.
They could write it into the plot too.
They could. I've heard people make jokes like they switch to like a different universe Rick and Morty where they sound different or something.
I saw one today where it's like just a ray gun that changes their voice, and it's in the plot.
It's permanent now, Morty.
It's permanent now.
I don't know, man. I really do like the voice. I like, and I also like that. Like, I've been following that guy on TikTok for a while. I would really like. I think ideal is that he gets the job and he just fucking continues on like that. I would love that.
That would be fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with either side of this. To where like they just emulate it, or they write it into the plot somehow. They can do either. I do feel bad for the team in a way though, because
that's before you
they're
say
going to be
anything.
carrying a lot of the weight of the improv now.
Yeah, I don't even know if I don't feel like they're going to try to shoe in improv. I feel like, yeah, I mean, I wonder if it'll have as much improv, or if that kind of like element of the show will kind of phase out, is the question.
I think like season 7 will have a little bit of it still written into it, because like obviously they were working on season 7 when
That's
this all
the
happened.
interesting. Yeah, I saw people pointing this out, right? So like, no doubt, because in fact, they're already on. Like, they've said this, they're already on the writing of season 8. So season 7 was like in the middle of like the voice acting and animation part, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no doubt, most, if not almost all, of Justin Roiland's like lines were probably already filmed for season 7, right? Yeah. So like, the question is, do they scrap all that? Do they have someone dub over? It's awkward. Like, in a world that made sense, we would just fucking let them use what was already filmed. But that can't fly now, because people don't understand like how time, like, no, like your normie doesn't understand how long it takes to make animation. So like,
no kidding.
I thought you said you were replacing him. It's like, yeah, but we're like fucking 3 seasons ahead, man. Like in a world that made sense, you'd fucking just use that, but you can't, because of many reasons. So like, I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, maybe
that's where the cancel culture side of it comes into play, because they would try to cancel Adult Swim for utilizing it. Yada yada.
Yeah, yada. And also like, we'll probably never know this, but like another good question is like, does Justin, like, I wonder what his contract is. Is he still going to get like royalties from Rick and Morty? Like,
100% he'll still get royalties, because he'll have to, at least up to season 6, right? Because he wrote, directed, created, produced all of that, right? So he would get royalty checks for the voice acting, for the reruns, stuff like that, because he's still contracted on those seasons. But like from season 7 onward, we don't know what Warner/Adult Swim made him sign when he left. Like, he could have no longer been attached to it in any capacity whatsoever, because he kind of fucked up on their dime.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Warner is still one of the most massive corporations on the planet, despite their declining, business model here lately.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I wonder if with Roiland, if they'll ever, is he like done, or will he have like a James Gunn comeback, like years on the line? Like if, I wonder if this like trial goes the correct way for him, right? Like let's go hypothetically here. The trial happens. He's found like yeah, he did some sus shit, but we find him like, maybe he only goes to jail for like a half a year or something, right? And then he gets out, and then like, how people have shitty memories, like 5-10 years go by, and then someone's like, oh, we're bringing him back for a new show. I can see it. I can just see it. You know how people are.
Flim Flam and Jim Jam.
Flim Flam and Jim Jam. Yeah, that's, dude, I'm putting my money on that. I can believe it.
Well, I mean, I just try to emulate the goddamn humor.
That's the humor. Oh, jeez. Oh,
But like,
Morty.
here's the thing, like, the ideal goal of our justice system is technically reformation, right? We know our justice system fails miserably at reformation. We create career criminals because no one can recover from being incarcerated in any capacity. But in a just, sane world, like, that is the goal of our justice system.
Yeah, in no way. I almost never believe in like full you're canceled forever, because if that's the case, there's no
Nobody
motivation.
would be
There's no
successful.
yeah. Also, there's no motivation for anyone to try to become a better person. You're just
Right.
saying like, oh, you made one mistake. I guess fuck you for the rest of your
You
life.
shit your pants live on national television. You'll never recover from that. You're done, right?
Yeah. Well, that's not a really good example, because that's not like a moral failing, shitting your pants. More you make like a bad rape joke on national television. It's like, oh shit, fuck that guy forever. It's like, okay, well, what if he comes back 5 years later? He hasn't made a rape joke since, and he's like, yeah, I really fucked up back then. I actually thought about it. I learned like what my words were doing and how they were hurting people, and I'm never going to do it again. Like, you should, there's a point where you should forgive, right? And obviously the time allotted for forgiveness depends on the crime. So with Royland, if it comes out that he did beat this woman and he also did send these sussy DMs, I'm hoping that he didn't actually fuck any of these underage. Well, they were underage, right? The DMs.
From what I've seen, there's been a mixture of that.
But yeah, so the hope is that he didn't actually fuck any of them, right? Because I mean, if you fucked someone underage, that's you're approaching maybe unforgivable territory at that point. But if it's just sussy DMs, beat a woman, give him 10 years. If he comes back, he's proven that he's like changed his behavior completely. He's gone to all the therapy, and like, I think there's a point where you can forgive, right?
Right.
Not anytime soon, but at a certain point.
I see a need for forgiveness from a side of it, right? But you're right. Like, there's degrees to this. Now, if he acted on any of the sussy DMs like a Ryan Haywood level, then absolutely not.
Yeah, probably not.
Because not only have you been imitating this art for the longest time, now a lot of you just acted on your own baser instincts there. You're fucking, yeah, that's where I would draw the line. Like, I see the need for like somebody that has substance abuse problems, somebody that has a lot of that, to go and get the help that they need. They need to actually go through that. And I'd say that is, somebody that
well, there's certain mistakes that can be understood, right? Like, but then there's lines where it's like, no matter how under the influence you were, no matter how depressed you were, you should have never done that.
Right.
So it's like,
100%.
Okay, you sent weird messages. Okay, you flew off the handle and like physically assaulted someone. These are all things that can be forgiven. You fuck someone underage. I mean, like, no matter, like, your brain, that should be such a hard stop. You should be able to be like,
right,
under the influence of 30 different drugs and be like, absolutely not. You know what I mean? Like,
let me see that ID.
No forgiving that.
Looks a little fake. No.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's why I'm gonna hope that, for his sake, that worst case scenario, he beat this woman. He was like super drunk, beat the shit out of this girl, and like, maybe sent these weird DMs but never acted on them. And if that's the case, I say give him a year or two in jail. I don't know actually it depends on how badly he beat her, I guess. I mean, if it was bad, maybe up to like more like 5 or 10 years. If it's like bad. But then, like, what if he fucking comes back and like, and I say this for anyone. It's not just because I like Rick and Morty, or you know what I mean. Like, this is, in an ideal world, you should even like be able to forgive someone who like, beats like a friend of yours if they come back and they're like fully actually apologetic, right? Like, for real. That's the ideal. It sounds like very hippy dippy, but I mean, like, that's yeah, I think that's the ideal. It's easier said than done, but yeah.
Yeah, the court of public opinion will always try and prevail on a lot of things, and that's part of me loves and hates that, right? Because there's definitely a need to go past, like, because we do have a failing justice system that it's 100% one of those things that's never perfect, right? So the court of public opinion kind of sits there as like the interim for a lot of these things, where this person definitely deserved more than 2 years in prison for the crime they committed of, killing an unarmed civilian, looking at you like every cop ever. But like we also have the issue of like it getting overzealous, right?
Oh
Where
yeah.
like we try to retroactively cancel people for things that they said or did when they were fucking teenagers. I've seen sports stars lose contracts because they said a dumb joke when they were 16 and in high school, but because they live in the era of now, they had a Twitter or a Facebook back then.
That shit's scary. Like, can you imagine if like we grew up in the era with like
I'm so
every
glad I
yeah.
didn't have a social media account until I was in my fucking adult years.
Yeah, I mean, and like, I'll be honest, I had a streak of violent tendencies in high school where yeah, I remember to this day, I'm so happy that nothing came of this. I got really mad at someone and I wanted to like scare them. I wanted to kind of like scare them, but not actually hit them. So I had like this really heavy binder full of like all these books. You know what a binder? You remember the binders with like the click
God, the
click thing
like
in the
the
middle?
Trapper Keeper era where you can
Yeah.
stuff like 8 Harry Potter books in there.
I had heavy ass shit, right? So I wanted to like pretend to throw it at this guy's face. It slipped out of my hand, fully clocked this motherfucker in the nose.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, and I don't know if he just was trying to tough it out or whatever, but like I didn't get in trouble for that. I don't know what happened.
I
don't know.
1000% would have been suspended.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I would have deserved it too. I also
my ass would have been laughing all the way home. I get to play Halo now.
no, dude, if I got suspended, my dad would have beat my ass.
My dad was so used to me being suspended every other day.
I'm not saying that as someone who like got beat regularly. My parents, like my mom would never touch me, and my dad just threatened it a couple times. But like, it's mostly because I was a little baby bitch and I never got in trouble. If I got suspended, I would have got my ass beat, no doubt. Yeah. But what was I gonna say? No, I mean, I think of things like that. I think of jokes I've told back in the day. I mean, dude, like just like 15 years ago, it was like very commonplace to say the F slur and like retard constantly, like casually.
Right.
So it's just their times change so much. You do have to have like, you got to be like understand. It's unfortunately there's no like easy yes or no answer to any of these things. You have to be able to like thread that line, and like people are terrible at threading the line because people have different opinions on things, right?
Like even inside our own Discord, I use the R word.
Well,
I got called out for it.
We're allowed because we're very, very autistic.
I'm so because I'm older, I'm
old
older than
fuck.
Even you. Like,
yeah, you know what's funny? Technically, I'm only. Well, I guess I am, right? I'm barely a millennial. I always forget how old millennials are. So millennial is from 1981 to 1996.
Right. No.
I'm 1994, so I'm like a young millennial. You're like a legit, like you're right in the sweet spot. You're a millennial. I'm like a millennial approaching Gen Z.
The advent of the internet. Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't have internet until I was in like middle school because I lived out in bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, and I bet it was dial-up.
It was fucking dial-up.
me jerking off as my fucking porn loads one pixel line at a time.
No, ironically, like my first porn was because my buddy was playing like one of those strip breakout clones.
Fuck yeah.
So I'm like watching a girl take her clothes off as he beat a video game.
Amazing.
But no, like I was so used to that being a commonplace word. I'm like, yes, please 100% call me out if I use terms that are not like acceptable anymore. Like, it's not hard to do that, and it's not hard to try and remove that stuff from your vocabulary.
Well, a good example too, and I haven't seen the full clip, but I saw it like very briefly on TikTok. Like, have you seen Dan Harmon? Like, he actually gave a talk like about like trying to like atone for his past mistakes and like being part of the solution, not the problem, and like that requires like admitting like past failings that you've had.
Oh yeah.
And have you seen that? Like, he actually like legit.
I saw about 60-second clip of it on TikTok as well.
He was talking about like he asked like some of his like female friends, and like they talked about how like like one of the important things you should do is like not run away from what you've done, but like come out, admit it, and then ask for forgiveness, and like so hopefully other people do as well. So like I mean he's fully like gone into and talked about his past failings. So
yeah, I mean he had a skit about a child. I remember that was one that they were trying to cancel him for, like right during the divorce. That they brought up during that was like this like child skit he did on some TV show.
Well, he had a they had like a website, I think, like because wasn't I don't know, I can't remember, like weren't they like college roommates, Royland and Harmon, or no?
I
No,
don't
I
I
don't
don't
totally
think they were
remember.
college roommates. I think they were roommates at some point though.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. I don't know, but I know that they had like a
A
you know
college humor style website.
they had some website where they posted weird shit. I've seen some of their old like skits that they've done. They
It,
were oh yeah, I mean we're talking like just as recently as
it
like
was like a
2005.
Dexter style parody. The one
Well, I've
that
seen a bunch of weird shit. It's
yeah.
yeah, I mean they really were just like us for real. I mean like if you've ever I don't know if you had this, but in middle school I had a friend that we would do little dumb video skits with, and like yeah, I mean
That's
the
how I
humor has
learned.
changed. What's
Yeah, that's how I
acceptable.
learned like the basis of editing back in Windows Movie Maker. It was like dumb shit like that.
You
No, those are lost to the sands of fucking time, thankfully. And unless my buddy still has an SD card floating around waiting for the moment that I strike it big, and then it's like, here's all the cancelable shit Vex did.
Well, either way, I think final thoughts on the Royland bit of this video. I think the more that this continues to happen, because it feels like it's happening a lot, right?
hmm
I'm starting to realize that I think patriarchy, and by that I mean the way that men are raised to view women and sex in the society that we live in, plus massive fame and success equals this exact thing,
Oh yeah.
right? Every single time. You know what I mean? Because I refuse to believe the simple monkey brain answer that this is just men and how men are, because that's ridiculous, right? Um, I grew up very thankfully, very lucky for me, autistic and a massive mama's boy.
hmm
I was not raised at all by my dad because my dad had no interest in having a kid, so he barely ever
Same.
talked to me. So I was a mama's boy. So I did not look at women the way that men who are raised by their old boomer fathers look at women. So I was scared to even approach them or talk to them. I was scared to like ask any girl out, right? But I feel like because I have very clear memories of like other men in high school, middle school at the time, being the exact opposite, having this insane, unearned, crazy confidence, the ability to just go up and be like, "Hey, girl, I like how you look, want to fuck," right? And like, you have to find that middle ground. You don't want to be completely cowardice, but you don't want to have like so much. I feel like some of these men, they have like so much confidence, and then when they gain like this notoriety, it's like all that crazy confidence
Yup.
plus the notoriety, it leads to like bad, you know abusive relationships where like, oh well, I'm this like famous guy, you got to listen to me, right? It's very weird. There's a have you ever heard the phrase meekness, like meek, be meek?
Yeah.
Basically it means to like, don't be so full of yourself, realize that like you're not this hot shit, and like, I don't know, sometimes it's okay to kind of be like, these
A little
behaviors.
humility comes a long way.
Yes, these behaviors that we try to push out of people, like, oh God, am I good enough? Oh God, like sometimes it's okay to have a little bit of that. You don't want to have like completely like, yes, I'm hot shit, right? Because that's the kind of fucking behavior that leads to someone who's like, no, of course she's not saying no. Of course, everyone wants to fuck me, because I feel like some of these.
27 no's and a yes means a yes.
Yeah, exactly, right. So like, I feel like a lot of these like male celebrities, not because they're male, but because of the way we teach men in society to go after women, I feel like a lot of them, they're taught confidence, confidence, confidence is
hmm
key. Then they get famous, and then they say, well, I just got to keep pushing. I just got to keep pushing, and I'll get it. And so I really do think that it really is just patriarchy, toxic masculinity, plus fame and success, almost always equals this.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I just want to add into your point there a little bit. Like, I was kind of that middle ground
Yeah.
there. Like, I was raised by my mother primarily because my dad, he was never fucking home. Like, he would work 12, 16-hour days, and I can argue that he has nothing to show for it other than, like, a broken body. But because of that, like, I was raised by my mother. But at the same time, like, my mother is didn't think too fondly of a lot of women either. So I kind of had like a little bit of that internalized toxic masculinity from my own mother.
Right.
So like I had a little bit of that riz going on of like going up to everybody and trying to, strike it up, but at the same time, like I do have those self-deprecating thoughts of like, am I worthy of this relationship? Do I deserve that?
Yeah. Like literally, if you just treat a woman like a human for long enough, and you're not like cringe, and you
Right,
just make friends with them, like
don't. I will never say no to a drink. Like, to my own fucking
Right.
detriment, I will never say no to a drink.
Well, think to yourself, how would I go up and like talk to a guy that I'm just like I want to be friends with? You're not gonna be like, hey man, how you like what you see? Hey man, you want to drink? You'd be like, oh dude, you reading that too? That's awesome. Just do that, but with women.
Right.
That's
but
literally
like, or your desired partner of any choice. Like I do not fucking understand. Like,
fucking someone should not change the relationship at all. I'm
Right.
sorry. This is my fucking hot take, okay? Fucking someone should be as like fucking casual as like a dance or a handshake. All right. Like I'm sorry. Like in a perfect world, we would all just like fuck our friends, and it would just be like
I
a
do
casual
fuck my
thing.
friends sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Then get on it. Why aren't you fucking me, huh?
I knew that
How much
was
weight
coming.
do I gotta lose?
You are not. Can I say? I should be able to say this word. You are not enough of a e-boy twink for me.
Okay. So if I get like super skinny, but then I'm like tall and muscly,
develop a nicotine addiction.
Listen, I bet. All right, I gotta stop. I was just gonna say, I bet that ass has been nice and used, so I don't gotta worry about not fitting in there. It's pre-stretched for me.
It definitely didn't have a strap in it last night.
So Ruby.
After the strap-on joke, why not get to Ruby, the horniest fandom on the planet?
That's the perfect segue. Have you ever been on Ruby NSFW? It's
God
nothing but
damn.
Funari and strap-ons. Bro, okay, all right, listen. So, okay, write down the timestamp because I think in the comments we should put like, hey, if you just want the Ruby conversation, come here.
43:25.
Bruh, boys, it's Ruby. You remember your old favorite channel that talked about? Remember Ruby Talk?
Oh God, Talk? Ruby Talk is on the ether now.
No, Ruby Talk's back. I don't give a fuck. I'm done. Nope. I'm superseding. Ruby Talk's back.
I'm not interested in discussing Ruby past this.
I am. This trailer looks good. I don't give a fuck. Like this is my big thing. Okay, the last like 2-3 seasons I've been like, this trailer looks good. Bro.
I will say the animation has definitely stepped up his game. I will say that the plot seems to be picking up here.
Yeah, not even the animation. Like, yeah, sure, it's pretty. Main thing here is, what have I been bitching about the last like 3 seasons? The location is so boring.
Well, I mean, you're in fucking Alice in Wonderland here, right?
This is fucking awesome because I don't know if it's been a bit. I don't know if you remember, they fell into like that fucking weird like ether zone. Yeah. So like, this is legit interesting. And like it looks cool, and it looks like they're trying to do some wacky, like it's the type of shit I like. It's like the Cataclysm and Fire Force, it's like weird reality warpy shit. So like I think that they realized that they needed to do something unique and different, and at the same time, to me, cutting as many ties as possible with Rooster Teeth seems like a cool move for me, and that actually makes me kind of respect the creative team a little bit more.
Yeah. I want to dive into that side of it first before we talk a little bit about Ruby here. So I've been saying for a while now, and I know I said no Rooster Teeth stuff on the channel, but this is important to, discuss here. But I think that Rooster Teeth is very much the sinking ship that we've been calling it for a while now, right? If you look at their business model for the last 2-3 years during the pandemic, they've been heavy diving in on like podcasts and that kind of content and straying more and more away from like gameplay. Their main series, they've been straying away from their own community, and rightfully so, because they clearly had a problem with their creators. So they want to kind of like differentiate each brand, right? Like you have the Rooster Teeth, you have the Squad Team Force, you have Achievement Hunter, Funhouse, yada yada yada, and they're each doing their own individual thing. But then you had animation that seemed to be like that odd person out, right? And that started way back when, like back during Red versus Blue, it was all machinimation because that was the big thing. Was like machinima was a brand, and then you had like RT Animation that wanted to like spawn out of that with like Camp and Ruby and Nomad and Nowhere that was their first season, and then they did that weird like mix patch Neo Kobani, which is like all different animation styles because they started scooping up people from everywhere else.
Mhm.
Each thing has its own identity now, is the thing that I was getting at. But RT Animation has always felt like that odd person out. So partnering with Crunchyroll or rekindling that,
Making
partnership
it
that they had.
Crunchyroll exclusive, basically. Like it's not going to even be on the Rooster Teeth website anymore, which to me feels like
Well,
a
it
very...
is actually. I read because that's the thing I was going to bring up. It's like I read the like blog posts because it got posted on the Ruby Reddit and I was still in there,
Mhm.
and it's got a year exclusivity to Crunchyroll. Um, kind
That's
of
going to be renewed. It's probably just a contract that they'll renew.
right. So each season will premiere on the RT website a year after Crunchyroll, basically.
Oh, okay.
So
That's nothing though. That's almost so essentially it's just an archive.
right.
A year, that's insane. Like no one's that the viewing figures on Rooster Teeth is going to be so little. A year, no one's waiting a year.
Well, the funny part is, like, a lot of the comments were like, well, just go and pirate it then. I'm not buying another membership. Like, the whole reason that they put it, I find this a funny side of it, is like, the whole reason that they had Rooster Teeth first in the first place was because of fucking Ruby.
Well, yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I feel like to me, this feels like a moment where, and I don't know how many people were involved in this decision, but clearly, like the Ruby creative team realizes, and like the wording of this is even kind of like evident in the post here. Ruby, the people that make Ruby, are aware of how like Ruby is still popular, even though it's like it's been wavering in quality, but it's like it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's really popular in Japan too, right? I
Yep.
mean, it's up there.
It got its own anime.
It's got its own popularity as a like thing, as a property. So I feel like they understand, and even probably Rooster Teeth understands that Rooster Teeth is a sinking ship.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I feel like they know that, and they're just trying to milk as much money out of it before it dies, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I feel like they're making a really, really intelligent decision here by completely decoupling Ruby from Rooster Teeth and making it because Crunchyroll is the anime platform. Because so like to those people in the comments, they're like, I'm not going to buy this. First of all, Crunchyroll is very cheap, and it's like
It's
the
$2 more than your Rooster Teeth first.
It's literally the best place to watch anime. Like it has almost everything. I think it's one of the few streaming services that are still good, to be honest with you. Like because
that's going to be a whole podcast topic, by the way.
Oh really? Yeah, no, I mean because like Netflix has almost nothing interesting left. HBO Max is removing all these cartoons. I think Netflix is the anime destination. I truly do.
Crunchyroll is the anime destination, and I would argue that Hulu is one of the better streaming platforms, or Apple TV. You're hearing that from the person that doesn't even own an Apple product.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I just think this is really big for Ruby. It brings more confidence to me, right? It almost and like to me, it's the same feeling I got when they announced that Doctor Who is going to start being exclusive to Disney Plus now, right? That's huge. Because
That's an insane one because now the Doctor could be a Disney princess.
Yes. Oh, even more important than that, the Doctor could be. I'm trying to think. Like if they want to go crazy, the Doctor could appear in the MCU.
The Doctor could appear in the next Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, please. Oh my God. Dude, okay, the level is gonna be like exploring the TARDIS because the TARDIS is like literally like infinite big.
Right? No, that would be awesome. I would 1000% love that. I actually would love to see like the modern Disney stuff make it into Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, but That's so funny, dude. Okay. One last thing on the Kingdom Hearts thing, and then back to what I was saying. I need, like, you know that meme who, like, it's the not even a meme. I think it was just like a panel from One Punch Man. It's when Saitama is like pointing to fucking Tatsumaki, and he's like, "Who is this sassy lost child?"
Yes,
I want
the doctor to
the
Sora.
doctor pointing to Sora, like, "Who the fuck are you, and why are you in my time?"
Are you
Who
my
is
new
this?
companion?
No, dude. Well, that's what I love about the Doctor. Like, despite the shittily written, like most recent Doctor, you know, the Jodie Whittaker one, most of the, like, the Doctor is not like a goody two. That's what I like about the Doctor. He's not a goody two shoes character. Like,
No,
the way he's
100%.
supposed to be written. Stephen Moffat, the previous showrunner, he described the Doctor as the type of guy who, if he's walking down the street and he sees a burning building, he's not going to run into the burning building to save people. But if he happens to find himself already in a burning building, he's like, okay, well, on my way out, I'll save people.
Right.
Because think about it. He has a time machine. He can go literally anywhere. You know, so, but he's like, you know, because I think he realizes that, like, when you look at the world, because he sees the world in a different way than we do, right? Because to him, time is nothing. So, like, to him, everyone is both alive and dead at the same time. Think about it, right? Like we look at, like, someone like Martin Luther King, Adolf Hitler, Genghis Khan. These are all people that are historical figures and they're dead. To him, everyone is both historical figures, future figures, and also all alive, all at once.
Oh,
so
yeah.
to him, if he can't just run around saving people willy-nilly because he doesn't know, like, oops, did I just save a future Hitler? You know what I mean?
No,
It's a fascinating way to look at the world, right?
So, like, the part to me about the whole, like, incorporating him into Kingdom Hearts is, like, it is a perfect explain away, like, 75 different plots. Like, it was just the Doctor controlling the quadratum we're in the Kingdom Hearts 4.
Fuck yeah. I'm with it. We still need to. I'm down to try to finish Kingdom Hearts still at some point. By the way,
100%. We could do that while I'm on break.
maybe. But what was I gonna say? So I had something else to say. I'll get to it eventually. Oh yeah, no. But anyway, all that's to say, the Doctor's not just like a goody two shoes. Like, he could very easily just find Sora very annoying and be like, get the fuck off my TARDIS right now.
He would find Sora annoying. He would more find Donald. This location looks like a great place to find some ingredients every 3 minutes.
This is some fucking Jar Jar Binks shit right now. Okay, so anyway, but so with Doctor Who moving to Disney Plus, that was like a big deal because all of a sudden it's getting more funding and more clout, right? So, like, Doctor Who has always been kind of, especially as we move away from, like, a cable TV thing to, like, a streaming service thing, right? Where everyone watches things on those. Doctor Who was just dying more and more and more because it didn't really have, like, a prominent streaming service to watch. It was kind of being passed around like the neighborhood hooker, you know. No, it's on HBO Max now. Oh, it's on Netflix now. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime now.
It's on Acorn and Acorn only for the first 5 seasons. Oh no, you gotta get BritBox now because Acorn stopped licensing it.
Exactly, right. And on top of that, the BBC is basically the British PBS, right?
Mhm.
It's a government-funded channel, so they've always had an absurdly low budget because they are literally. It's not a corporation that funded Doctor Who. It's literally like a government-funded.
Yeah, funded by the taxpayers, basically.
Yeah, it's a taxpayer-funded. So with this move, I think in a desperate attempt to finally save the show, they've changed it to now being produced like any other show. It's being produced by, like, a private company, and like, it's actually going to Disney Plus, which immediately gives me more. I mean, gives everyone more. Not only is it more possible to, like, get, like, the normies watching it again and get, like, actual, like, you know, like, the fan base back up again. It's got more funding. It's got legit funding from Disney now, which is huge. The guy writing it now is talking about how, I want to have it try to compete with, like, the MCU. That's, like, where he's got, like, high hopes and aspirations.
Please, no more cinematic universes.
That's not what he's saying. See, you keep, every time I say that quote, you're interpreting it as that. He means, like, popularity wise.
I know.
Compete with the MCU. So all this to say, it's not exactly the same. It's not a 1-for-1, but that's the vibe I'm getting with this Ruby move. And so it's actually giving me, and like, I'll make my judgments when we see this season. If we watch this season and it sucks, this is going to be like the make or break, drop or not drop season for me. But because, like, I feel like it has the opportunity to win me back right now. Like if they've like fully cut ties from Rooster Teeth, they're getting no doubt. I feel like no doubt they're getting more funding if they have this deal with Crunchyroll. I have some hopes. And the big like location change, because that has been one of my biggest complaints, is that like the show's not colorful and fun anymore. This looks kind of fun, so that's my hope. I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm cool with talking about it because like I remember like having a lot of fun with our Ruby talks. There's a lot to like make fun of and like so it's up to you, of course, but like I'm interested.
I'm interested in the location because I'm a big sucker for Alice in Wonderland, but at the same time, like I don't want to drive a lot of traffic their way.
But we're not going to. Like people are gonna. If no one's watching our reviews and then saying, "Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna fucking watch Ruby from this." It's the other way around. They already watched Ruby. They want someone to talk about.
I realize how backwards my logic is.
We can also open every single video with, "Hey, Rooster Teeth is fucking transphobic and sucks as a company." And the creative team is like entirely separate from this. You know what I mean? Like that's
an idea that I've been trying to ponder, like how to do it tactfully. If
you just open every video with that, there's a Doctor Who YouTuber I watch that literally has like a disclaimer. Every opening of the video is like, "Hey, the BBC is a transphobic organization. I'm gonna put this in front of every single video until this is addressed by them. I'm well aware that the creative team has nothing to do with this. It's just something that needs to be said every time I do a video on them. And now to the video. That's just every single time."
Yeah, that's an idea I've been bouncing around. But it also depends on like if I'm even like enjoying the season.
Right. I also think it'd be a fun thing to like. The thing with Ruby is I feel like it's also a fun thing to troll and make fun of even if it's bad.
Yeah, it's fun to. I'm conflicted, Red.
Yeah. I think you need to remember that the creative team is a totally different entity than the stupid company, right? Like the creative team is just a bunch of like passionate animators that wants to like have like a cool job in animation,
Yeah.
So you can look at it as more supporting them than the company. If we open it up with saying, "Hey, we support the awesome creative team on this," and we say fuck the company, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah, that's an idea, but like.
Do you want to? Is there any final thoughts wrapping up this video at all?
The only other thing I really wanted to address with like the Ruby side here is like I do find it on that funding aspect. If they got funding, I don't see why they didn't keep the leagues of animators that got let go during the production of season 9, since
I have a feeling that this deal was relatively recently.
That is also a possibility.
Yeah,
because a lot of talented people are without work now. From that whole aspect of it. So I do wonder like how recently I was the creative team just sitting down, putting the foot down like, "Hey, we are passionate about this, but we also don't want to lose any more talented people because we're already being worked to death Mappa style here on this."
Yeah, I have a feeling that this probably got worked out around the time that all the drama with Rooster Teeth was coming out. Remember when even the Ruby like voice actors were removing Rooster Teeth from their title? I have a feeling it was around then. Because like I think that there was a big moment where like probably even like Lindsay, like maybe even like the stars of the show are probably like, we need to remove ourselves from Rooster Teeth if this is going to continue. Yeah, they might have all put their foot down.
Yeah, I know Barb did it. I know Erin deleted her Twitter, but she deletes her Twitter like every 7 days, it seems like. I haven't really been on Twitter because I'm taking like a mental health break. I like have it on like the website to like check my DMs and shit, but other than that, like I'm not even actively pursuing anything on there overly much anyway.
I'm so glad we met them at that con before all the drama went down.
Right, no, 100%.
I still have that picture. I'm so sad that she didn't end up like liking it or retweeting it, like because she told us to tag her in it so she could show Michael, but she never ended up like liking it, so I don't know if it got lost in
the 7 million things that happened.
Yeah, but we still have that picture where you're Garbo and we're standing in front of Lindsay.
That is fucking hilarious.
It's such a good picture, dude.
But no, like I'm in the process of overhauling the studio. I don't know if you paid attention to like the update video I put up for like returning to streaming, right? And over to the wall to my like stage left here is all the stuff that I've had signed from like the Ruby voice actors and the Red vs. Blue voice actors and everything. But the thing is, like, I'm going to be changing some of these prints over for like a project. So I actually went out and bought like a acid proof like print album to put all that stuff in. Cause
Mm.
like I enjoy the show to the extent of like it's something nostalgic for me. It's something that you and I bonded over actually, like way back when. But it's something that like I'm not overly interested in to the degree that I was back then. You know, like it
Yeah.
like I explained to you in those voice memos, like my passions have kind of changed for what I'm interested in like doing a lot of content on. But I would not be if the quality is there, I would not be opposed to doing like at least a one episode, like here's our thoughts on the volume kind of thing. To that degree, maybe. Just depending on the quality of it.
Yeah. So Allie just got home, so if we could wrap this up within a couple minutes. You want to say hi, Allie?
Hi.
We're talking about the Ruby drama and the Rick and Morty drama.
Oh, what's the Ruby?
It's much less bad than the Rick and Morty drama. The Ruby drama is actually kind of good. They're removing themselves from Rooster Teeth, basically. They have a basically Crunchyroll gets the exclusive streaming rights, which is smart.
Timed exclusive.
What?
Timed exclusive.
So like a year or something.
Yeah.
Might as well be, because no one's gonna wait a year to watch.
Nobody's gonna wait a year to watch it if they're that interested and invested in this product. But yeah, like that's kind of where my thoughts are. So like,
Yeah, we'll I don't know, maybe we can do like one video on it, and then if we're interested, like with the caveat that if we're interested at all, like if we're like, ooh, we gotta watch the next episode, then we can keep going. But if we watch it and we're like, then we can not.
or just do like an at the end of the season thing.
That too, yeah.
But yeah, like over the next like 2-3 weeks, the streaming space will be rotating and changing, and you'll get to say goodbye to the Ruby posters and all that. And I have some interesting art that I got at the last two cons technically here, that'll be replacing them, and one of them is the
Not even gonna acknowledge that burp, huh? That's fucked up.
no, it wasn't juicy enough, Red.
It's pretty juicy.
One of them is actually signed by the voice of Ghostface.
Oh yeah.
Which is the big reason like why I wanted to change some of this, because I'm too fucking cheap to buy 1,000 more picture frames when I have
Fuck
perfectly
the
good
frames.
ones.
Yeah, that would like double the cost of all. That's why I just fucking poster putty everything to the wall anymore.
But like once I get situated in like a semi-permanent space, I want to turn it into like an art clock anyway.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, like,
are you
that's why
going to
that's...
the next con, the one in April?
That one.
It's a bit of a road trip. It's only about an hour drive, but like it's got the fucking Death Note voice actors. So I
Yeah,
have to go.
I definitely am not going all 3 days with it being that much.
Oh
of a
yeah,
road
I'm just
trip.
gonna go one. Yeah, me too.
But the thing is, like, I always buy the 3-day pass just to support them.
They'll be fine. Just get the one day.
But like, it's no sweat off my back financially.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't gonna say. No, I mean like, there's no way the 3 day is not happening with it being so far away.
right, so like, I would go the one, and that's perfectly fine for me because I'm very much not interested in cosplaying 3 days anymore as I'm older and have more and more metal in me as I go on.
Right. Well, you just gotta sit down more often.
Yeah, no,
That's
like
what I do.
half
It's still
of...
fun to cosplay, but yeah.
Yeah, but not 3 days, and especially like not 3 days an hour away in the middle of like our Michigan fall/winters.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, I just need to go one day, meet all the Death Note voice actors, get
Yeah.
my all-in-one, get that. What's
The-
it called again? The like really thick Death
the
Note book. all sides.
like all-in-one volume that's like so much of a pain in the ass to read, but so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm getting that shit. Well, you just got to remember, it is kind of a pain in the ass to read, but then I remembered like it was marketed to have like a super strong like binding, so
Yeah.
you can just like bend the shit out of that and it's fine.
Yeah, it's not like the Viz signatures of Vagabond, which I'm still pissed that just fall apart.
That's something. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I told. I don't remember if I told you. So I caught up with the Soul Eater Perfect volumes. So
Nice.
I'm buying them digitally now because I cannot wait, and the fan translations are still awful.
Dude, no, you're not wrong on the fan translations.
Bro, actual god tier series, bro.
I'm so glad you're enjoying it.
So his double page spreads are fucking gorgeous. The two that have like got me hyped so far. So I got past the part where she defeats Arachne. And there's that I don't know if you remember, like the black blood like comes back again, and it like burns away her clothes, and she's like in that dress again for the dress whenever. That was sick. And then the other one was when she got the angel wings on her scythe.
Nice.
She can fucking, because now that blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god, they did it. Like,
see, that's why like one of the most hyped death battles was like Maka versus Ruby, because they are a lot more.
They haven't done it yet. I'm waiting for it. I want it.
Like I don't like death battle for multiple reasons, but like that is one I would actually be invested in watching just to see how bullshit it is.
I still listen, man. People stick to shit on them a lot. I'm not in it for the accuracy, okay? Like people get like, oh, the bet. Like I don't know how to word this. For a lot of people, they say their favorite part is like the actual like animated fight at the end. Mm-hmm. My favorite part is like actually the analysis at the beginning, like when they go over all of their like moves and shit. Like I like, it's fun to like think. I don't know. And then I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is like the actual outcome, I'm not like that invested in. I just like seeing them like compare the characters and like the similarities and differences and stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's fun. It's like when they go to the fact that like Goku can blast through a galaxy with this one bullshit move. You know, that side of the analysis always drives me insane. Like,
it doesn't bother me. To me, I look at it as like the ridiculousness of like fiction over the ridiculousness of them. You know what I mean? Like, because like in this shot here, Naruto is dodging a laser, but then over here he gets fucking bopped by a T-Rex. It's like, what? Or that's more Sasuke, right? Because
Sasuke fighting the Velociraptor in the Shinden.
I keep getting a TikTok of a guy. He's like, Sasuke is still fighting this fucking Velociraptor. It just keeps going. This fucking Velociraptor fight's going longer than the Goku Frieza fight.
It's been going on for like 3 months, dude.
No, I don't know about.
It's like 2 chapters in a light novel, but they've drug it out because it's like bi-weekly series. It's been going on for 3 months.
Amazing. Well, anyway, that was a really good video. I think I'm gonna head out.
Yep. Peace, everyone.
Peace out.